Welcome to News and Brews, with information on surgical robotics, insights on medical devices and digital health. We turn to our MD&M West correspondent, Ann Wyatt.
Well, good morning to all of you party people. This is breaking news here this morning with the news team, the News and Brews crew. I'm super excited to be coming to you live from Anaheim with our first guest here in the MD&M segment, Bill Urban. Bill, hi, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on and doing our show here. We appreciate it. So, Bill, you have a very unique and cool background. I'm really excited to dig into this conversation today because, you know, I'm super passionate about technology and how it's impacting our workforce. And I can't wait to kind of uncover some of the ways that Americhem Engineering Compounds is doing that and why you're passionate as well. So can you start off the conversation this morning, kind of kick it off with just a quick introduction and what you're passionate about with your company?
Yeah, my background is biomedical engineering devices and helping the stakeholders in their medical device development journey. We're a materials company, so my passion is what goes into the device, both conceptually and literally. So, you know, and we're really seeing some driving forces in the main subsegments like diabetes management, wearables technology, advanced surgical robotics, and drug delivery. So there's, we think those are the big four subsegments just now, and then moving forward over the next few years.
So that's fantastic. I have a friend who is also around our industry and kind of does some speaking events as well. But his name is Ryan, and he is a type 2 diabetic. And he, when we kind of first started chatting and getting to know each other, he told me all about his insulin pump that he has, and it's managed completely on his phone. And he's able to regulate and check his blood sugar, all like from a quote-unquote as what we would think of as an IoT solution. So can you kind of tell us a little bit more about that type of solution as having such a big impact on the end user or patients like my friend?
Yeah, firstly, I'd say from the human level, the clinical level, there's there's an advocacy. You know, patients with chronic illnesses are just getting on with their lives, and the technology enables that. So they can have type 1 or even type 2 diabetes, get their insulin levels checked, have that pump keep pumping, and just go on about their lives. So, you know, where we come in is make sure the devices work. You know, so a pump might need some internal gears that are internally lubricated to keep them running without fail. Often, you know, the glucose patch is exposed to sunlight, UV radiation, sunscreen, kids are jumping in pools, all these things. So you have to have the materials in the devices be able to withstand just the harsh environment of the clinical setting, but also just everyday life. So, you know, that's what we would call CGM, continuous glucose monitoring, where there's an insulin pump, an insulin glucose monitor, and then it's all connected with the smart device. And even to that, I mean, patients demand and require connectivity. So for their own sake to see their numbers, or even send it to their clinician or their loved one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it really, it plays a major day-to-day effect on him. You know, his health is affected every single day. And I think that's so important to think of because I don't have kind of a chronic condition myself where I would have to manage something like that. But, you know, that's so I innately just don't worry about that kind of thing. But so much peace of mind is brought and comfort is brought from having a solution like that. And I think that's so impactful and important.
Yeah, and diabetes is just one example of a chronic disease. You could have cancer or COPD, and there's a movement for patient self-administration and patient advocacy that's leading to better overall global health. And I think that's what's driving the drug delivery business. And I can't really bring up drugs or drug delivery without kind of alluding to the drugs that have been indicated for diabetes are also now being indicated for weight loss. So that's a seismic game changer if that happens, what we think is going to happen, where drugs can be indicated for weight loss. So instead of getting bariatric surgery or any other kind of going under the knife, they can take medication now. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. And a great kind of subsection of that, and to piggyback off that thought really, is the relationships that the medical device industry has with pharmaceuticals. So I don't know if you really want to get into that. I really don't have much insight on that. I'm not very familiar with this industry. But do you feel like there's some good camaraderie there overall?
Short answer is not really. I think as a med device person my whole career, I've always felt an invisible wall between device and pharma. But I think that line's being blurred or being forced to be blurred now because of the drug delivery and the combination devices. So the drug companies use the term ROA, route of administration. So it's whether it's going in the eye, the ear, the mouth, or in the skin, etc. But when it comes to the device, it's a combination device. So traditional OEMs would say class 1, class 2, class 3, but an inhaler for COPD, asthma is a combination device. So there's a drug and a device. I guess what I'm trying to say, with the growth of that whole movement, it may blur the lines and have more symmetry and integration.
Okay, yeah. So that's interesting. So silos, and thinking about silos is kind of something that I do have some experience with, but certainly not industry silos at all, but more inside the industry, and kind of speaking of silos and what we're doing to bridge those gaps, especially when it comes to your workforce. How do you feel like the impact of technology, just like the wearable device, the glucose meter, how do you think that's impacting the workforce of our own industry?
Wow, I'm thinking. Well, seeing how we've been really aggressive in global acquisitions, I think there's tribal knowledge and tribal expertise in the companies that we acquired. For example, in Denmark, we have a clean compounding facility, and their expertise is in hearing aids, just because the world's largest hearing aid manufacturing market happens to be in Denmark. Different markets in China and Asia. So, we force those tribal knowledge to collaborate more. I think we've got work to do when it comes to, you didn't say AI, but I will. I think we have to get smarter, more seamless integration with our own systems and manufacturing. And I think just at a broad level, it can't just be about the device anymore. If you just make plastic or you just make hardware, that's great. But why did Medtronic team up with NVIDIA? Because NVIDIA is a honking graphics engine workhorse, and they can't do their computer-aided detection for colonoscopy without the software horsepower. So I think you'll see more examples in that, and certainly more examples in advanced visualization for robotics. And just lastly on that platform, for training, because any surgeon or doctor coming out of medical school today, they're going to have to know how to use a robot. It's just going to be part of their reality.
Absolutely, yeah. They're already utilizing robotics for surgeries, and they have been, in a way for quite some time. And certainly machine vision, if you think about colonoscopies, or if you think about if you have heart caths, so those are all things, applications of where we're seeing a huge advancement in technology. But I love that you brought up tribal knowledge. And my background is in recruiting and HR consulting, and I will go to bat for tribal knowledge preservation and trying to find ways to preserve your tribal knowledge at all costs. So, do you think that that's something that you're passionate about as well? And if so, what are you doing? What are some tips that you could give others that are maybe trying to preserve their own tribal knowledge within their organization?
I guess collaboration at the end of the day, collaboration, communication, developing young talent. We do bring folks right out of university and keep them on, and we do a rotation, whether it be technical, manufacturing, commercial, and 9 out of 10 times we love them and we keep them. Yeah, I mean, be forthcoming with that tribal knowledge. Makes everybody better. By sharing it, it makes the whole organization better, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I cannot speak enough about collaboration. If I weren't a huge proponent of collaboration, I probably wouldn't be sitting in this chair today. So I think that the more that we can collaborate and knowledge share and grow and learn from each other, we're going to, there's no way we're not going to succeed as an industry, you know?
It's rewarding. I mean, if I were to, train or mentor a young person, it feels good and it benefits us both. It's not like he's going to leapfrog me or challenge me or compete with me. I didn't go to medical school, but there is a saying, see one, do one, teach one. So I kind of try to apply that methodology to, my work life and my colleagues.
Absolutely. I love that. So see one.
Do one.
Do one.
Teach one.
Teach one.
Yeah.
Yes. Watch it, right? Watch the application, watch the process, and then do the process, and then pass the information along. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's huge. Thank you for sharing that. That's a huge takeaway. I appreciate that. Well, perfect. Well, kind of speaking about technical applications, what are some things that maybe are not specific to what you guys are doing within your organization, but what are you seeing the trends over the next decade? Where do you think medical devices are going to be? What are some of the craziest applications or futuristic? We're sitting right in front of a DeLorean, so I kind of feel like I've got to be super futuristic here. But what are some of those things that maybe we thought this was science fiction, right? And now we're doing them.
Wow, put me on the spot. That's tricky. Well, I'll start out with kind of by cheating, because everything wants to be smaller, faster, cheaper over time. Devices are continue to get smaller. Smartwatch didn't exist however many years ago. And now it can measure your heart rate, your pulse oximetry. So I think not so bold prediction. I think you'll see more connectivity, and it won't just be smartwatches. Might be an ECG monitor. It might be an EEG monitor. Maybe for some mental health things too. I think this is already coming about with smartphones and describing your moods, your anxieties, whatever's going on. So I think you'll see a lot of that. I think more machine learning and AI as applies to manufacturing, and just also data integrity and data collection. So, I used to be in radiography, and computer-aided detection is not new. I mean, it was really big, came up mostly through diagnostic imaging and breast imaging and digital mammography. So there's so much to visualize. Can the radiographer get a little bit of help? Well, now we're seeing that in colonoscopy with Medtronic and NVIDIA. I guess my point is, I think we'll see more and more of that. Deep learning, robots will become smarter, decision-making will be easier. They're not going to make the decisions for them, but hopefully the surgeons and the planners and the doctors can have better data and have to help them make decisions.
Excuse me, I got a little choked up here, but the data is so important piece of that. So I'm a huge advocate of the Industry 4.0 Club. And Industry 4.0, and it's really about the data within manufacturing and really collecting the data from machines, from people, from your sales process, everything. And I think it's so interesting that we can also use the idea of data to make our own selves better, right? So when you're thinking about the smartwatch, Lord, when you're thinking about the smartwatch and it's telling you, okay, it's time to stand for the day and you need to get your steps in, and it's also telling you to breathe, right? Mine does. I don't know if yours does, but mine tells me to breathe.
That's helpful.
Yeah. But how do you think that impacts our longevity if we are able to collect that data on a personal level and apply that to our own selves?
Wow, I think I have two reactions to that. One is if my watch keeps telling me to do something and I'm not doing it, would I become anxious about being behind on my tasks, or does it promote, overall, better health? I'm jealous because maybe I should start doing that, or, do controlled breathing or meditation or such as that. I think, big data. I was talking about this yesterday. I'm really think that the connectivity is the key. I think the solution is in the special sauce. The software. So I guess you need to have the hardware, but I think the important juju is in the software and the connectivity. Making the things see each other and work together. Everybody has a story of a company that put in a new system and it doesn't work. The system's broken. No, you put garbage data in, or you don't have the connectivity software to get from A to B. So that's a comment I would make.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, I do believe we are at time for this segment today, but this has been fantastic. I look forward to speaking with you more in the future and learning more about this amazing applications and the industry. But thank you so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a great show.
Thank you so much.